exultant Michael Pittman for the touchdown.
Al Michaels with the call for NBC. The Michael Pittman touchdown. Just a jump ball. Carson Wentz throws up there, and he lets his receiver make a play, and that he did. The clinching touchdown in a 30-18 Colts win over the Niners. They're just terrible in their own building. That team has no home field advantage. And they really, at 2-4, excuse me. I don't know if they have any hope. Woo. Mark, let's start with the Colts, who in a game with miserable weather show up and get the job done, and a team that was left for dead at the start of this month is going to enter it in very good shape, relatively.
Yeah, I think in a game like this where, I mean, you get like 4 or 5 of these a year where the weather is a legitimate factor, and, you know, Carson Wentz did enough. I thought that this was a game where pass interference played a huge role. The Niners had 97 yards of PI penalties, and they led directly to Colts scores. And Wentz had that one would-be interception that looked awful initially on tape, but it was actually ruled a fumble. But he made some throws too, and like they did enough. They did enough down the stretch. I don't come away like. I think you got Greg. I think you're a bigger Wentz and Colts fan than I am. But they steamrolled basically to me a Niners team that has me depressed about football.
No, they've just been good. I mean, I'm not a huge Wentz fan.
I was always banging the Wentz and Colts drum all off season.
I have not been.
Yeah.
I've just said he's been a solid QB this year. This game was pretty typical of that. He'll make 1 or 2 head-scratching plays, but for the most part, he's played well in tricky situations. Pittman has become a guy when the ball's in the air, you just think he's going to go get it. I mean, he is aggressive. He's nasty.
He's a guy becoming a dude.
He is really gotten better, and they need him. You know, they didn't have Hilton tonight. Campbell's not coming back. Mo Alley Cox makes a play every week. And then Jonathan Taylor is becoming a truly elite back.
Yeah.
I mean, the way he waits and then explodes, and his vision is like night and day from a year ago. And you compare that to San Francisco, who I think they're kind of similar teams, similar injury situations, similar mid-level quarterbacks, similar coaches with the reputation to play call really well. But I tell you what, there's a lot of open receivers and a lot of better play calls on the Colts side of things tonight than the 49ers. You could not watch this game and think that the 49ers are the better coached team on offense. It just hasn't looked that way this season.
Mark, where are you at on your Kyle Shanahan fan club membership? Are you still a dues-paying member now that they are 2-4 and not? It doesn't look particularly like a team ready to turn the corner, and I think Jimmy Garoppolo, I just don't think he could really play. And 3 turnovers in this game and some back-breaking turnovers at that.
I don't think he just couldn't throw the ball tonight, though. That was part of it.
All right, we can make excuses for the weather and all that, but to me, it's Jimmy G is part of the problem here. But now you have the Trey Lance being injured, so that keeps the situation at bay in terms of a controversy, or does it? We'll find out what's going on with Lance next week. But it feels like, in case of emergency, break the Lance glass. It's time.
Well, it is. It's absolutely time because at this point, I knew it was coming.
You did? I didn't.
Huh?
Well,
I'll tell you why, because I heard them, sound checking the song beforehand, so I knew it was being prepped just to make sure that it plays out correctly, and then the minute Mark says something, interrupt him and get your giggles, and everyone goes home and sleeps in their beds.
Wow. You completely nailed that whole thing. I did get my giggles, and I will sleep in my bed with a smile on my face.
The thing about, hold on, Jimmy G, and I know. He suddenly could throw the ball, though.
Thank you.
They had that 3-play, 70-yard touchdown drive where they could throw the ball.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I don't know, man.
For me, though, but you asked, like, where.
I mean, I see that. I see what you're talking about. The 3-play, 70-yard drive got him back in the game. But for me, it's like you watch these Garoppolo games, and there's just more bad than good week after week.
You're absolutely right.
And when they were out on offense, the better players on the field were Darius Leonard, who's been a total beast, like Kwity Paye, total game changer.
Payday
scenario. And you asked where am I in the Niners, and it's kind of like when you're trying to like unhook yourself from a gym, and it takes like 2 months to get through to, the people on the telephone to have you stop paying. You're stuck in that thing, and I'm kind of stuck in the Niners thing.
Well, they're like, you can't quit the gym because you haven't moved out of the area. It is like, well, I'm not in the San Francisco area. It's like, are you in California? Yes. Did you say that Kyle Shanahan was not going to win just one Super Bowl, but multiple Super Bowls?
Multiple.
Yes, I did say that. Well, you cannot leave the fan club.
Yeah,
You can't leave now.
I'm not leaving now, but it is like
Wait, we could give him the chance tonight to leave the club.
no, because here's the thing.
Okay.
Like I think that the plan is not worked, and like I'm not those gonna sit around and tell you he's the best this or that, and the Niners are gonna win multiple
Mark,
NFC
you're so
titles.
crazy.
Oh, okay.
They are 4.5 games behind.
That's better than the song, by the way. You could play that.
They're 4.5 back. Like, if this was
Oh.
a baseball team, like, you could put a magic number up for eliminating the 49ers in this division. There's only 10
That's
games
like the
left
equipment of being about 12 back in a baseball
It's-
season
it's-
at midseason.
Their running game. I know Elijah Mitchell ended up having the same numbers as Taylor, but it's not the same running game. It's the lowest point of the Shanahan era. I don't even think that's debatable because they always had great excuse, great context for why they were struggling before. This was not supposed to be that year, and while they've had injuries, a lot of teams have had injuries, and I'm surprised.
And
I really
they've
am
mortgaged their future picks wise. I mean, it's all about Trey Lance. So
Shannon-
why not? At this point.
Shanahan seems like he doesn't know exactly what to do. Like, they ran the ball great in that first drive. They get set up in the red zone after the Jonathan Taylor fumble on the second drive, and then they try to be aggressive, let Jimmy G throw the ball, doesn't throw it well, end up kicking a field goal. And then when you get to the end of the first half, they kind of were letting the Colts run the clock out because they didn't even want to get the ball back for Jimmy G because they didn't think he could score in the rain. So there's a lot going on.
And now, if you're a Colts fan, and yes, the old Zeuser picked them to win the division. I always thought Wentz could
It's a
have a
Dan
comeback.
Hansis shout out.
Thank you, Paul Rudd. I always thought that Wentz could have this bounce back season. And he's been up and down, and he was up and down on Sunday, of course. But I think he's got a little juice this season now. And you look at if they can somehow, and it's not a somehow, the Titans are playing great football right now, and I would never go against Gravedigger because Gravedigger savaged you boys with some trash talk and then backed it up.
Right, his nickname is not incorrect.
I mean, Gravedigger hasn't savaged anyone. I would like it. He could. He could have savaged it. It's like savage with a smile.
The listener didn't know.
Mr. Nice Guy.
And the viewers didn't know that after our TV taping on Friday, as Mark and Greg were walking out of the studio, getting ready with smiles on their faces to begin their weekend, Gravedigger said what?
It didn't even register with me.
Oh,
when
it didn't
happened.
register.
He literally, the listeners do know because Gravedigger told this story earlier in the show. He said, sorry for losing your locks. Something.
Right, but
Gravedigger.
But to Greg's earlier point, like he said it in such nice fashion that it didn't leave me stunned and like driving home, staring 1,000 yards into the distance.
Well, that's the story you tell now. But anyway, if they win, if they beat these Titans at home on Halloween, guess what? You got the Jets and Jags waiting for you home the next 2 weeks after that, and all of a sudden the Colts are right in the thick of things.
They're going to be they can be in the AFC wildcard race. Again, we have an extra game this season. Even if they somehow
division race, why can't they?
Sure, that too. They got to win that game.
Yes,
if they lose that game,
huge.
They're out. They're out of the division race. But either way, I think they can be playing games that matter in weeks 16, 17, 18, which, you wouldn't have necessarily.
Put it this way.
I don't know.
If they beat the Titans next week, they're one game out with the Jets and Jags up next. That's all.
That all works mathematically, but if each of these teams were like human beings in a room, like the Colts would not catch my eye. Like, I understand what you're saying.
They're in the middle. All you can ask for as a fan is to be playing meaningful games.
I get that, but like
this is what you've done to us.
We'll
NFL,
do this
week
with 15 teams, but it's like the Colts are just sort of a bland mix. Like I also appreciate that they're sturdy, they're well coached.
Says the guy in the Hawaiian shirt.
Suddenly, you feel like speaking up on the show. That's nice of you.
All right. I think we should shut these things.
Okay.
It's been a tough one. Thank you, Frags. All right, that's it.
I don't want to I did not that. By the way, that's I don't mean to say that to Erica. Then we close the show. That feels.
Well, you snapped at her.
Yeah,
I
feel like it's time to go home.
You did what you did, and you can't take it back. It happened.
What about
I don't
either?
Be here
what about her or whoever else playing the music while I'm talking on a show?
She's certainly she's accountable, and I hope she is about it. And you guys could talk about it privately.
Yeah, you know what, Mark? If it really bothers you, I'll stop doing that. I'm really sorry.
I don't mind it too much.
She's setting you up. Go ahead, say something.
No, I'm not going to say anything else. Because it's that or some other female employee saying something about me that's pre-recorded.
We know you like that. We'll be back on Tuesday with a special guest, Rachel Bonetta, new to the company, rising industry titan, some say. I say.
Evidence to suggest.
Host
of NFL Game Day View.
Well, there's the evidence right there.
What
That
a
show's
show.
doing nice numbers.
Over under on how many times that will be mentioned during the Tuesday time we spent with her. I'm putting that at 18.5.
We'll set it at 18.5. I'll pound the over on that one.
Gonna go
I will
two.
too.
2.5.
All right. So that's what's coming.
Now we're just all being mocked. This is wonderful.
Ricky's just opening up the drops folder
Just
now.
pressing every button. I have.
So we'll be back Tuesday.
Dan, watch out.
That was the entire Jets team before kickoff today.
It only took one dart.
All right, that's it. We'll be back, yes, Tuesday. So check that out. And till then, Dan Hansa signing off for Quiet Storm, the old boss, Ricky Hollywood, the Grave Digger. Big day for the Grave Digger. Sticking it 2. Sounds like
Did.
Heed the call.